Mrs. Eleanor Reed's hands trembled slightly as she sorted through the dusty contents of the old cedar chest. A task-long postponed sunlight streamed through the attic window, illuminating motes dancing in the air like forgotten memories beneath a stack of faded quilts. Her fingers brushed against something unexpected, not fabric, but thick, aged paper. Carefully, she withdrew a sealed envelope. Yellowed with time, her breath caught the handwriting, bold and flowing even after all these years, was achingly familiar. Eleanor, it read, and the return address chilled her. Private James Callahan. Somewhere in France. This letter was from James, her James, dated October 12, 1944, sent mere weeks before the telegram arrived declaring him missing in action. How had it never reached her? A lifetime of unanswered questions surged back with dizzying force. 70 years dissolved in an instant. Eleanor was 18 again, standing on the rain-slicked platform of Grand Central Station. James, impossibly handsome in his crisp uniform, held her hands tightly, his eyes holding a fierce mixture of love and dread. The whistle shrieked, a sound that pierced her soul. "I'll write every day, Ellie," he promised, his voice thick. "You wait for me." She had nodded, tears blurring his face as the train pulled him away towards the docks, towards the war-swallowing Europe. Whole true to his word, letters arrived like clockwork, lifelines across the ocean filled with his hopes, his fears, his unwavering love, sketches of French villages, and promises of a future filled with peace. Each one was a treasure, read and reread until the paper grew soft. James wrote this particular letter crouched in a dim, rain-sodden barn behind the shifting front lines. The air reeked of damp earth, livestock, and the ever-present tang of cordite. Exhaustion weighed on him like a lead coat, but the thought of Eleanor, safe back home, fueled his shaking hand. He filled pages, pouring out his longing for her laugh, the scent of her hair, the feel of her hand. And as he spoke of simple dreams, ðİ'Œ, a small house, perhaps by the water, mornings waking up together. "This war can't last forever, Ellie," he wrote, the ink occasionally smudged by a stray drop of rain or something else. "Hold on to that thought, hold on to us. My love for you is the only thing keeping me sane in this madness." He sealed it with a soldier's fervent hope. Somewhere between that French barn and Eleanor's anxious mailbox in Brooklyn, chaos intervened. Perhaps a transport truck took a direct hit. Maybe a sorting office suffered a bomb blast. During the relentless fighting, the bundle containing James' precious letter, along with countless others, wasn't destroyed, merely violently displaced. It was buried under rubble, then cleared and mistakenly packed into a crate of salvaged office supplies shipped back stateside long after the war's end, its personal significance utterly lost years later. That crate was sold off, its contents eventually finding their way into the cedar chest Eleanor's mother bought at an estate auction, a chest Eleanor herself inherited. Never suspecting the heartache hidden within its fragrant depths, the discovery sent ripples through Eleanor's quiet life. Her son, Robert, fascinated and moved, embarked on a mission. He contacted archivists, military historians, tracing the possible routes of misdirected wartime mail. It was a long shot, a whisper across decades. Meanwhile, Eleanor kept the unopened letter on her bedside table. It was a physical presence, a ghost from her vibrant youth. She'd touched the envelope, tracing James's name, wondering what final thoughts he'd entrusted to the page. The anticipation was a strange blend of exquisite pain and profound yearning. After 70 years, James was speaking to her again. Was she finally ready to hear his last words? One crisp autumn afternoon, Robert arrived, his face alight with solemn excitement. He hadn't found how the letter went astray, but ðİ'Œ confirmed the likely path of its incredible, decades-long detour. More importantly, he brought a sense of closure to the mystery of its journey. Sitting beside his mother on her well-worn sofa, sunlight warming the room just like that day in the attic, Robert gently placed the letter in her hands. The moment had arrived with infinite care. Her aged fingers, marked by time but still strong, slid under the brittle flap. The sound of tearing paper echoed loudly in the quiet room. She unfolded the pages, her eyes, still sharp behind her glasses, eagerly scanning the familiar, beloved script. The words flowed from the page, vivid and immediate, as if James sat beside her. He spoke of the cold, the mud, the bone-deep weariness, but overwhelmingly, he spoke of her. His love wasn't a memory. It was a living, breathing force. On the page, he described the constellations he saw, knowing she might see the same stars, a fragile connection across the miles. He wrote of his faith in their future, his absolute conviction they would build a life together. Remember our spot by the old oak tree, Ellie? He asked. That's where I'll find you when this is over. Wait for me there in your heart. Always. There was no premonition, only steadfast love and hope. Tears streamed freely down Eleanor's wrinkled cheeks, not solely of grief, but of overwhelming gratitude. After a lifetime, she heard his voice again, clear and loving. James had come home later. Eleanor sat by her window, the precious letter resting gently on her lap. The final, unspoken goodbye she'd carried for 70 years shifted. It wasn't an ending found in the letter, but a reaffirmation of a love that had never truly died. He had been thinking of her, loving her, right until the end. The mystery of the letter's journey paled beside the certainty it delivered. His love had endured as twilight painted the sky in soft hues of orange and purple. A profound peace settled over her. She placed her hand over the words on the page, feeling an echo of his presence, a warmth that finally, blessedly, filled the hollow space grief had carved so long ago. ðİ'Œ's last message, lost but miraculously found, whispered across time. He had loved her completely and forever, and that, at last, was enough.